So hello everyone, welcome to this another video of this channel. I'm Abhishek Verma and you are watching Spring Basics with Spring Boot series. So as I promised you earlier that a day will come when Spring config class is going to become very simple. So believe me, today is that particular day. Because till now in the Spring config class, we used to write the beans for different class. But the problem was that if my project is having, let's say, 100 classes, so I need to write 100 methods annotated with @bean. And that means it is going to become difficult for me. So today we are going to remove that completely. What we are going to learn today is about auto scanning and the stereotype annotations. As always, first of all, I will show you a small deck of only 2 slides where I'll try to explain you these topics theoretically so that you can answer in the interview questions also and you can understand the concept. And then the same thing I will try to show you with the help of a code. Now the only thing which you need to do is that you need to download the code from my GitHub repository, practice the same. Beside this, you need to like the video, share it with your friends and comment something, because believe me, still after requesting so much, you guys are not at all liking the videos. Most of you are not even watching the videos, and then I can't say anything about sharing. So please trust me and support me for this. Now let's get started with the deck first. So now let's try to understand what is auto scanning. So auto scanning is a process where Spring scans the packages for the beans, which means that till now, if you remember, we used to create a config class, and within that we used to make all the beans method one by one. But the point is that I always keep on telling you that I have worked with the projects where I was having 10 repository class, 10 service class, 10 controller class and so on. So imagine that in that case, you need to make around 30 bean methods for 30 different classes. And in case your project is even bigger, then that becomes very difficult. So instead of it, now we will be going towards auto scanning, which means we don't need to make those bean methods. Now you will say, how will this magic happen? So for this, we will be make usage of @component scan. So that's a single annotation which we will use upon our config class. So we will still make the same config class, but upon this we will write @component scan. Now how it will do is that, so let's say this config class I have annotated with component scan. Now this config class is a part of some package. So by default, this package and the sub packages will be scanned for the expected beans. So component scan annotation will automatically start scanning this package and its sub packages. So you will say, what if I want to scan some other package which is not in this hierarchy then? So then also we have options, but that I will directly show you in the code, not here. But I hope this thing is clear, that what is auto scanning, that it will now scan the beans automatically. You don't need to write bean annotations. This will be done using component scan. By default, it will scan this package as well as the sub package. Now another question comes up is that within those package or sub packages also, there can be so many number of classes. And let's say that there exists a class for which I don't want to make a bean. So how will Spring decide for which class to make beans and for which class not to make beans? So that's a valid question, I hope. Yeah. So that will happen with the help of stereotype annotations. So this component scan will just tell you that this is a particular area which we need to scan. Then within this area, there can be 100 classes. Out of those 100 classes, only the classes which are annotated with stereotype annotations, for those classes only we will be creating the beans. So I hope this works. Now the point is, what is the stereotype annotations and how important it is? Believe me, the stereotype annotation is in itself a interview question. I have also covered a 1-minute question for which the link I will provide on the top, so that also you can watch separately and you can give me some views on that particular short video also. It's less than a 1-minute video. Yeah. But let's try to understand here also what is stereotype annotations. For interview question, you can answer that, because there I have explained everything in a quick manner. So stereotype annotations, as I mentioned you, these are basically those annotations which you will annotate over the classes for which you want to make a bean. So let's say that in my particular project, I just need to create a bean for the service IMPL and repository IMPL. I don't want to make a bean for the demo class. I don't want to make any bean for the Spring config class. So what I will do is only the service class and the repository class I will annotate with the stereotype annotation. Simple. Now what is the stereotype annotation? How will it look like? What should we write after @? So after @ we just need to say @ component. Now I guess things are very simple because that will do the component scan, and here whatever the class is annotated with @ component, that will come under the component scan. Hope the things are easy and simple to learn now. So this is a general stereotype annotation. Now beside this, we are having 3 more stereotype annotations which will come as per the requirement. So let's say that after writing a lot of code, after writing so many classes, you identify that these are some of the classes which contain the repository logic. Maybe they are interacting with some real database, or maybe they are just having some particular, like in our scenario, we are having the dummy repository. So those kind of classes, we can simply call them repository class. So there, instead of using @ component, they say you can make usage of @ repository. The work is same, only the difference is when you will say @ repository, it will be easier to explain the same to your colleague or your manager that this is the job. Otherwise the working of both these annotations is same only. But the moment you feel it's a specific repository class, go for @ repository instead of a common one. Then there are some classes which may contain the business logic, like the service class. So for them the annotation is @ service, again simple. Then there are some classes which will be taking input from the user, or in more clear words, so the moment we will start creating a web application. So in the web application, we need to have a class which will contain all the APIs. So initially from the front end or from the postman or maybe from any other client, control will come to our APIs first of all. Then it will go to service class and other classes. So those kind of API classes are known as controller classes, and hence for them the annotation is @controller. So basically these are the 4 stereotype annotations which should be on your tips. So generally I say that you don't need to remember anything, but believe me, whatever we are learning as of now, these are some of the very basic things which will be asked to you in some interview also, okay, irrespective of your experience. So maybe you are having something like 1 year experience, or you are having 5 year experience, or even 10 years experience. So people try to ask these things in order to understand how more you know about the basics. Now you will say that, okay Abhishek, if all these are same kind of things only, all these annotations are almost similar, only the thing is that these are just more clear words, @ repository, service and controller. Is it possible that there exists a service class but I annotate it with repository? Will it make any issue? The answer is no, it is not going to make any issue. But it is again same like that you are saying that Maruti 800 is a ship, not a car. Okay. Now obviously if you will tell someone that Maruti 800 or Nano is a ship and not a car, then you will be considered as a fool. So same way, if you will say this is a service class but I want to write @ repository on it, so you will be not considered intelligent there. So better either you write one of these annotations. If you feel that you can't classify your class as a part of these 3 categories, then you just say @ component, because later on we will also see some of the classes which I cannot identify as a part of repository, service or controller. So there I will be using component. So in this series I will be using component, repository, service as per the requirement. Controller I am not going to use here. This we will see when we will start with the Spring REST series. So I hope now the stereotype annotations and the auto scanning is clear to you in terms of theory. If you feel the things are clear, please pause the video, take some time, take some rest, okay, and write some comment also,
and like the video, share it with your friends so that I can also get some kind of encouragement, because believe me, most of you people don't even like the videos, you don't even comment, okay? And later on you say me that, okay Abhishek, that video was good, but there is no like from you on that video. How will YouTube understand the video is good? Yeah. Okay, so if that's clear, now let's move towards the coding part of it. Now we are in the IDE, and as always I have copied the demo 4 from demo 3. Now if you feel that, okay Abhishek, you just keep on copying the demo from the previous demo, you should always explain from the scratch, believe me, that is not possible guys, okay? Otherwise it will become difficult for you only, because most of the time when you saw the thumbnail of this video, it should be clear in your mind that in this video you are going to learn about auto scanning and these stereotype annotations. If I will explain you each and everything, what is in pom.xml, what is in this class, that class, obviously your time will get waste. So that's my point, that always watch the videos in series, learn slowly, but learn in detail. Yeah. So I hope that's clear. So pom.xml is same as always. And here if I say this repository interface is same, believe me, as of now the code is exactly same, okay? So even this Spring config is same as earlier itself. So we will be still going to convert this class as per our requirement. So this is a Spring config, this is my repository IMPL, and this is my service IMPL, and this is my demo class. So all things are there as it is. On the repository class, you see there is nothing, it's simple. Service class also there is nothing, simple, owner repository. And here tell me which kind of dependency injection we are doing. Is it setter based dependency injection or constructor based dependency injection? Quickly tell me in the comments. Yeah. So hope you have answered that. Now going to this Spring config, both the beans we have created for owner repository, and this bean we are using here in the owner service bean here. Yeah. And here this is the way. Now this bean name, I already told you that by default the name of your method is same as your name of the bean. If you want to rename the bean, then you can write it somewhere here in the brackets like this, ABC. So now this will be the name of your bean instead of owner service. Yeah. Now let's proceed and start converting this class. So I just now told you that in future it may happen that you will be working with 100 classes. So creating 100 methods only for the beans is such a difficult task, okay? So instead of it, what we will do is that we are not going to write beans anymore like this, okay? So let's remove it. So we are not going to use it anymore, and simply what I will do is here I will say @ component. So this way I will say here @ component scan. So this is the one, Control Shift O, and all extra annotations, all extra imports went away. So as simple as that. Component scan, my job is done. Now, what do you think? Are the things going to work or not? Let's see. So I just now told you that by default, since you have annotated this class with @ component scan, so which package will be scanned here? The package, this one. So it will scan the config package for the expected beans and its sub package. But if you see here, we don't have any sub package of the config. Yeah. So there is no sub package of this config, and within the config we have only this particular class. So what do you think? How many beans will be created? Tell me in the comments. Yeah. And till the meantime, let me start my code from here. Let's see whether it works or not. Yeah. So there is no need to hurry and no need to worry. Let's go slow here. Okay. So you see that here I'm looking for the bean of owner service. Yeah, because this was as per my code. But currently it says no bean has been available for owner service. And also those lines are not printed, because if you remember, I have written these statements. So if the bean will created, these lines will be printed here, but they are not getting printed, guys. So if that's the case, this means there is no bean here, because obviously there is no class here. So what I want is, I want to basically scan repository IMPL and the service IMPL. So let's try to go here and see how it looks like. So within the component scan, you have this particular value. So this is something value is available, or you can also say base packages. So any one of these properties you can use. Both are going to take a string array, and within this you need to give the packages which you want to scan. So let's go here and start writing it in this way. So this is the one, and these are array because we want to scan here two different things. So let me go here first. So I will copy this particular one. So I have copied this, and let me write here. Yeah. So like automatically I just went there. If required, you can even go to your service first and you can write that name. So there is no hard and fast rule in this that okay, first you should be writing this name and then that name. So this way you can write these two names. So both the names within the array you have mentioned. Let me see if something happens if I say Control Shift F. So yeah, nothing happens, just a little bit of more formatting it has done. But this is how the code looks like. Now let's execute the code again. So there we go. Here I say Java application. So this time again, when I write this particular thing here, again it is not able to scan anything. Yeah. So here it says that I don't find anything, because now you see what is the mistake. Now we have given the right packages which needs to be scanned. But remember, we don't have any stereotype annotation here. Now since there is no stereotype annotation here, it is not able to find anything. Okay, that is one thing. So still it didn't create any bean for us. So that's one of the reasons. But before we provide some stereotype annotation there, I would like to tell you one more interesting thing. The interesting thing is that here, now imagine currently I just need to scan two packages. So I wrote their name. In the real world project, I may be having 10 packages. And here you see how difficult it is. The moment I make a spelling mistake like this, things are just gone for me. It will be very hard to identify where I have made a mistake. Okay, just because of a spelling mistake. So instead of giving so many things, what happens is you can give the name of the parent package. So instead of exactly saying IMPL, what you can do is in both of them, you can say service and repository. So that will do, because you see repository IMPL is the sub package of repository and service IMPL is the sub package of service. So that can do. Now if you still look more clear, service and repository are the child of com.abhishekverma10. So what I can do is here I can just say something like this. And now since these are same thing only, so I don't need to have an array here. So let me remove this array also. Now this is just a single class. Okay, just a single package is left here. So that is the power of giving the package name, guys. Now just take a pause here and remember the day you wrote your very first Java code. The day when someone told you that you should be making meaningful package names. You must have thought why to make packages and why to even write package names like this. Why don't simply say ABC XYZ? But now see, things are getting connected. So many times it happens that when we are learning something, we don't get the things why we should do it in this particular way. Even if someone says it is a best practice, we still feel why is it a best practice? But the moment you will gain more experience, things will automatically come to you. You will automatically start understanding, and believe me, the moment you will understand the point, you will feel everything is a magic. Okay. Now see how interesting it is that this is the point. Okay. But if you will meet the person whom you were around few years back when you wrote your very first Java code, you would have thought, why should I give the package names like this? Okay. But today you understood the meaning. So this is the thing. Now let's again execute this. Let's see if it works fine. Okay, this is working, but again the point is it's unable to scan because obviously there is no annotations. Yeah. So in this one, I don't want to make any bean for demo. Okay. I just want to make a bean for the repository IMPL. So what I can do is @component. So first of all, we will give this annotation only @component here, guys. Yeah. This is the one. Now this I wrote here, and same annotation I will be writing on this particular service IMPL also. So in both the classes I have given this same annotation here. Now if that is the case, let's see that why we are calling it as stereotype annotations. Yeah. So here if you go, so this particular one, Maven dependencies, then you go to this particular Spring context here, and here we have something like, you see, this is the same package, org Spring Framework Stereotype, and all these 4 annotations are there: component, controller, repository, service, index, and this you can ignore as of now. Okay, our main focus is other things: component, controller, repository, and service. The same details which I gave you on the deck, same details are available there also. So if you wish, you can keep on using @component. Let me just execute it once and let's see whether it's working or not. So now you see the beans have been created. And what is the order of the beans? Like how it decided this time? Because last time when you remember, we were making usage of Spring config. I told you it is the order of the way you write your methods. First method, second method. If one method is dependent on other, then that way it is created. But now what's the order? Now the order is simple. It will scan the package, then as per the package names. So obviously R comes before S, P, Q, R, S. So since R comes before, so first of all repository IMPL got scanned, owner repository IMPL got created, then service IMPL got scanned, and service IMPL got created. If somehow service IMPL comes first, then there also it will identify it's dependent on repository, that will be scanned. So that's the way here. Yeah. So both of these beans got created, that's good here. But the point is it still says I'm unable to identify this bean name. But why so? The reason is this name we have given here, owner service. Why we have given this name only? Because this was the name of our method earlier. Yeah. Now this time what is the name of the bean? Because there is no method, so what will be the name? So by default, the name of the bean this time is going to be your class name with first letter small. So the name of this bean is owner repository IMPL, first letter small. The name of this bean is owner service IMPL with the first letter small. And if you want to rename the bean, you can just do it right here. So here you can give the name whatever you like. Currently I'm happy with this name only. So what I will do is I will copy this and I will go here and I will just paste it like this, owner service IMPL. So now this is the name of my bean, owner service IMPL. You see first letter small, rest everything as it is. So again the camel case approach here. Now let's again execute the code this time. So you see owner repository IMPL got created, owner service IMPL got created here. So beans got created, but the point is it says okay, that issue we have resolved, but now it goes here and there it says this owner repository. So this is still null. Now why is it null? Because if you remember, till now we have done only the inversion of control. Now we have allocated the Spring the task of creating beans for us without even telling which bean to make. Like we are not writing here, automatically it is trying to understand with the help of stereotype annotations. Yeah, if require, what you can do is instead of component, now let's call it as service. So this way let's call it as service, and same way here let's call it as repository. So this is the one. So we will start calling it as repository. So now also the same way happen. Yeah, I just told you. Now this looks even more clear. Instead of calling it as component, you call it as repository. Instead of calling it as service, you call it as service. Because till the point you don't know the name of the car, you will just say it is a car. But the moment you know the name of a car, then you will use that particular name. Okay, same way it is the thing. So beans have been created, but the point is we still need to inject the dependency. So how to do? Now if you remember, this is the setter dependency. Okay, so here we need to do the setter dependency injection. So earlier if you remember, this job we will doing in the config class, but now we don't have anything in the config class. So how to do it? So the option left is that you go here. Now here you are taking a bean of service IMPL. So same way copy this and get a bean of repository IMPL first of all. So that's the number one job which you need to do here. So what I'll do is I'll copy this name. So I just want to copy this repository word and I will just say here, and the same thing I will write here to same thing I will write here also, and same thing I will write here also. So everywhere I will say repository. So now I'm getting the bean of service also here. I'm getting the bean of repository also here. Now what I need to do is I just need to invoke the setter methods. So I will say here owner service. So this is why it went here. So I'm not sure why this keep on happening with me. Okay. So now I will say dot, and I'm not able to call the setter method, guys. Why is it so? Because here I'm using the parent reference here. So this is the parent reference, but the setter methods are created in the IMPL class. Now this, whatever I'm showing you now, is it for the temporary purpose. In the long run, again, you are not going to do things like this. Things will become even much more easier. Okay. So if you wish, you can start calling it as IMPL directly, or if you wish, the same way, you can do a typecasting at the runtime. So let's do the typecasting at runtime. So let's make this owner service as owner service IMPL at the runtime. So this way, let's convert this. Now it became the instance of your owner service IMPL. And now let's try to call the setter methods, Control Shift O again. So yeah, this set owner ID is there. And same way, what you can do is you can copy this whole thing again. Let's paste it and let's say the repository. So this is the one. Owner ID, you remember I used to provide 10. In future, we will still take it from the user also. As of now, let's keep it as 10. And owner repository, this bean you are providing. So you're not doing any kind of hard coding here. You are getting the bean, you are providing there. The same thing you were doing earlier in your config class also, if you remember. So let me show you from the previous code. So earlier, you were doing something like this. Owner repository, ID 10. Same thing now you are doing here. Yeah. So this way, this has become simpler for you. And now if I execute the code, so let me just execute it here. So you see things are working. So this way things will keep on working, guys. Yeah. So now from this video, we have understood what is auto scanning. Now, as I told you earlier also, so always in the previous videos, if you will watch them, I always kept on saying you in future, this Spring config is going to be removed. Today, we have made this class empty. Believe me, I guess there will be just one more video with this Spring config, then there won't be any class like this. Yeah. We don't even need this class actually. Things are even going to become more easier. We also learned what are the stereotype annotations, how the bean is getting created automatically, and how we are making usage of here. Now here you see that still we need to inject the dependency on our own here. Okay. In the next video, believe me, you don't even need to write these lines also. Things are even going to become much more easier for you. Okay. But as I always say, I am not going to jump directly on the last thing. We will go step by step so you can understand the thing step by step. If you like the video, then please comment something, like the video, share it with your friends so that we can increase our community as much as possible, as quickly as possible. Thanks everyone, and see you in the next video.